This is the Totoaba, the largest member of the croaker fish family. It can grow up to 2 meters long and live for more than 30 years. The Totoaba suffered a population crash of 95% during the 20th century and was classified as critically endangered in 1996. It is illegally hunted for its swim bladder, which is dried and used in traditional Chinese medicine. Totoaba more are much sought after for the unproven benefits of treating circulatory and skin problems. And this is the vaquita. It's the world's smallest porpoise and the world's most threatened marine mammal. Like the Totoaba, it's classified as critically endangered. Current estimates suggest there are fewer than 60 individuals remaining. The vaquita is not being directly hunted or persecuted in its own right. It's collateral damage. Killed in the illegal gill nets used to poach Totoaba. Both species are only found here, in the Gulf of California, the body of water separating the Baja California Peninsula from mainland Mexico. But to understand the driving force behind this dual extinction, we have to travel to China.
EIA started looking at this problem back in 2015. At that time we were concerned about the plight of the vaquita, and we found that the biggest threat to the vaquita was the illegal fishing for Totoaba fish. Recently, until a few years ago, there was a very, very strong demand for Totoaba more. It was a huge scale, lots of money was being made, high prices being paid, and this directly impacted the vaquita. There was a sharp drop in vaquita numbers during this peak period.
等于说被人家挖掘了以后，现在货很多，市面上流动的太多了，把价格压低了。
现在货是最多的时候。
对，但是也是已经接近尾声的啦，已经是这个时候是最便宜的。
What we found out in our investigations is that there's a glut on the market now, a glut particularly for the smaller more. There is still an active trade, but it's mostly coming out of stockpiles. There's also a strong demand for the high-end Totoaba more, which tend to be bigger and are more attractive to collectors who buy these products for stockpiling, for, if you like, speculation.
我现在家里1斤跟1斤多的，我现在存货全部卖。
全不卖啊？
不卖。
为什么？
因为我也要留着我以后自己赚钱。
Totoaba more is still seen as valuable, and there is still a high demand from investors, so that illegal poaching continues.
And we had a tip-off about this town called Shantou, which is also in southern China. It's on the coast, which was said to be a major centre for trade in Totoaba fish more. So in June 2016, EIA's investigators returned to the area and for the first time visited Shantou and met with a company that claimed to be one of the biggest traders in Totoaba fish more. And at that time they claimed to have 700 Totoaba fish more in stock.
所以现在囤多少货？
囤的可能有600-700
对。
Looking at seizures of Totoaba moors, which are pretty few and far between, you can sort of start plotting where the main smuggling routes are, because it's worth remembering that Totoaba is banned from international trade, so any trade on Totoaba moor is illegal. And seizures are mostly taking place in Mexico, as you'd expect, where the Totoaba are found, but then also quite a few in Southern California, which points to the fact that these moors are moving across the border from Mexico into America, and from there they're often flown by air freight or by post across to Hong Kong. Once you're in Hong Kong obviously has its own demand and market, but most of those are more that enter Hong Kong and then smuggled across the border into southern China. There has been some attempts to educate the people in the business. We saw some posters that have been put up by the local authorities reiterating that Totoaba more is illegal. Despite that, we could still see Totoaba openly on sale in that market, which means enforcement is not what it should be. There's more awareness of this problem now. I think lots of publicity has been carried out. There's been some awareness raising. That's obviously been effective in places like Hong Kong, where the trade is much more guarded. But we don't see the same level of interest in enforcement in mainland China. We've tried to check all the seizures of Totoaba we can come across, and we've yet to find one in mainland China. I think it's fair to say that the future of the vaquita is in the hands of the Chinese consumers who keep buying Totoaba fish more. The vaquita is endangered, principally because of illegal fishing for Totoaba, and that fishing takes place to supply the market in mainland China. What EIA would like to see is some better enforcement by the Chinese authorities, particularly in these places like Shantou and Guangdong, but also more attempts to educate the customers who are buying this fish meal, the Totoaba meal, because it might be that they're unaware of the links to what they're buying with the imminent extinction of an amazingly charismatic species.
To give the vaquita a chance of survival, EIA is calling for a permanent ban on all fishing across the entire range of the vaquita, strict enforcement against the illegal Totoaba trade in China,